Why are so many pregnancies unplanned? I cannot stand effectiveness ratings of birth control methods. My girlfriend was looking into this cream that was 90% effective. As an engineer, I said, well, what does that actually mean, and started reading the research. 90% of women 18 to 40 didn't get pregnant during a 30-day period of having sex at least once. That's not really helpful. As a Midwest American, I was told in sex ed that a condom was only 70% effective if not applied correctly, and then never was told how to apply one. Most of my class took that to mean that they might as well try pulling out. There were a lot of pregnant teens at my school. Edit to add. This would have been 2010 or 2011. Apart from the fact that birth control doesn't always work, fertility is kind of a fickle topic. My mother, for example, was told she could never have kids due to a medical issue. She was on birth control and had an IUD. So you can imagine how shocked she was to discover she was pregnant with my younger sister. Edit. For those who don't get it, I was already born when this occurred. My mother was told she would never be able to have children again. I was a teenager when this occurred. It's important to remember that even if a birth control method is 98 to 99% effective, while that may seem like a small number, that's still 2 unplanned pregnancies per year. If 1 million women were taking the birth control pill absolutely perfectly, there would still be 20,000 unplanned pregnancies from the method's failure. Again per year. And that's just the perfect use. Typical use is much lower. Typical use results from mistakes such as storing a condom in your wallet, taking your pill a few hours late, taking antibiotics while on the pill, etc. A 2% failure rate seems like such a low number, but you have to multiply those numbers up, and suddenly it becomes a lot larger. We have to wrap our heads around these statistics instead of just assuming the failure rate is so low, and it's on an annual basis. If you were a part of the 98% one year, you could be a part of the 2% the next year. I think others have covered. 1. Birth control isn't 100% effective even when used properly. 2. Not everyone can take birth control. 3. Sex education sucks because it stresses abstinence instead of actually teaching students something. Haven't seen another reason. Access to birth control. If you have insurance, they cover the medication, but they don't cover the office visit 100%. You have a copay or even deductible depending on the insurance. In some states, teenagers have to get parental consent. In many states, Planned Parenthood is the best low-cost access to medical birth control, but you have to wade through protesters to get there. Colorado, for instance, gave teenagers access to the IUD and dropped the unplanned pregnancy rate substantially. This thread makes me frightened of having sex tbh cold sweat smile. Because, in a lot of places, at least within America, sex ed still seems to be mostly about abstinence. When I was in my 20s, I already knew I never wanted kids. Then my husband died, freakishly young. I went to get an IUD about 6 months later. Because I knew 1. I definitely still didn't want kids. 2. It would last 10 to 15 years. 3. I couldn't use hormones due to different meds. And 4. That I was about to lose my insurance. So getting it ASAP made sense. The doctor asked me, "How does your husband feel about you doing this?" And in a moment of raging clarity I said, "Well, he's dead, so he doesn't have an opinion on it." Then I was told, "Well then why would you need an IUD? As you are no longer married." Remember that I was in my 20s. Being told it was marriage equals sex and husband equals decides on kids. I remarried later. Still don't want kids. But I could have easily ended up pregnant. In the middle. if they had refused me my IUD based on having a deceased spouse. Hormonal birth controls like the pill can wreak havoc on a woman's health and may not be an option for everyone. There are non-hormonal options like some IUDs, but those are not always accessible and can create their own problems for a woman. That leaves basically condoms, which alone are not 100%. Lots of reasons. One is a lot of people honestly do not know how methods work. We had a client who took a birth control pill each time she had sex. Then she wondered why it didn't work. Also, 20 to 30 is a lot a month for some people. When I didn't have insurance, I could not afford the extra expense per month. It would have been 35. As for condoms, many men refuse to use them because they claim it changes the feeling they have. Also, in a lot of relationships, the men really want take no for an answer. Some religions do not allow it either. Each circumstance is different, and while some people may not care if they get pregnant, the majority have some other factor that plays a role. Edit. Also, no birth control method works 100% of the time for 100% of people. For example, I am on lithium and was wondering why I still got my period each month while on the pill. My doctor insisted it was working. I did research and found out that lithium can cause the pills to not work properly. The only reason I distrusted my doctor was because of my medical background. Otherwise, I wouldn't have questioned it. Poor sexual education. Birth control isn't always $20 minus $30 a month. Sex is free. Condoms are not. Rape happens. Birth control fails. People lie. Only $20 to $30, Mo. Not talking about the massive line of negative effects of the birth control pill. Up clearly has no idea just how poor most people can be. No birth control is 100% effective. Even having your tubes tied isn't 100% effective. Condoms can break. You could be wearing the wrong size. The pill is less effective if not taken consistently on a schedule. The depot shot has about a 2 to 3 week window in which you need to go get your next dose. And you can't come before that window opens. And it can be very hard to get an appointment during that time frame. Even an IUD isn't 100%. With an IUD you can have it shift. Or even in extreme cases, come out. Lol, the fact that you can do whatever you want to prevent pregnancy and it can still happen. Now consider what's 1 to 2% of fail rates over a population of 360 million. For some reason people have this idea that equals 2 people and will never happen to them. I always wondered why that is. Some part is people in long-term relationship that know they want kids sometimes in future, but not right now, so they don't take it that seriously. Because worst case is they will have kids sooner. Birth control can still fail. Also, there's still a stigma around it, especially with young people and/or religious people. On top of that, many schools still fail to educate their students properly on safe sex. As a result, people will turn to the internet for information. And the internet is full of dumb tricks on how to not get pregnant, get someone pregnant. Well, in my case, my husband and I went through 10 years of infertility, so birth control seemed pointless then. Bam baby lol. Also, birth control isn't 100% effective and it failing is much more common than people think. Another thing to think about is the side effects of birth control. They are literally so bad. It can change your entire personality. Which if you've never taken a pill that changes you like that, you couldn't understand how truly weird and unsettling it is. You gain weight, get acne, feel angry. Some make your periods more painful with more blood. It sucks. Most people do not know how to properly use contraception. Or they ignore red flags. For instance, There are 7 steps to properly put on a condom. Birth control loses effectiveness if your daily dose isn't taken at the exact same time. IUDs often become dislodged due to improper placement or equipment malfunction. And then there's misunderstandings about biology in general. Sperm absolutely can and will travel to the fertilization site from the outside, if it lands on certain areas around the vagina. Don't underestimate the swimmers. To be diagnosed as infertile does not require your sperm count to be absolutely zero. There is still a chance. That, coupled with seriously lacking sex education in some parts of the country, while also paired with the low IQ of some parents causing the inability to properly assess long-term consequences. And I mean, there ya go. There's your answer. Really. You are assuming people don't even try to prevent pregnancy. A lot of people try to prevent pregnancy via the pull-out method or the safe period during the menstrual cycle method. Those methods have high rates of failure, but people are still attempting to avoid pregnancy ahead of time. Improper usage. Birth control pills need to be taken close to the same time every day, and some people just are reckless about it. I have the arm implant and it is 99% effective. There is that 1% chance it is not. I also live in a country with universal healthcare where I was 100% reimbursed but needed to pay up front.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. TooAfraidToAsk is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.